quantum leadership, embracing AI for a human-centric future.
Raja, I hear you have the sniffles. You feeling okay?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
So I got to tell you, I've known Raja for, I was thinking about this morning, Raja, for nearly 20 years. Isn't that wild?
That's true, that's true.
I've known him throughout my career at Wired or Time and now at Moonpay, and he is one of the most awarded and recognized marketers out there. I mean, he's an absolutely brilliant marketer on every level. And I know that this is a conversation about AI, and I'm going to get to AI in a minute. I actually love this setup, Raja. I wish you could see it. It feels like the 1984 Apple ad. But I wanted to talk about just some work that you did at Mastercard, okay? In 2019, I remember you and I were having a conversation and you said to me, Mastercard's gonna remove the logo from its, remove the name from its logo. And I thought that was wild, right? Like Mastercard's gonna remove Mastercard from its logo. And then I remember like a few months later, you said to me, Keith, we exist in this invisible world of voice and sound. And so Mastercard needs a sound, right? And then 2 days ago, you said Mastercard needs a feel and introduced the haptic logo of Mastercard. Can you walk everyone through sort of your thinking of like the haptic logo, what it means, and how consumers will experience it?
Yeah, very happy to. Is my voice coming through clearly?
It beautifully.
Okay, great. So here is what I would say. If you take a big step back and look at what exactly is a brand. A brand is a manifestation of everything that you want to stand up for, which is whether it is your values, your character, your image, your style, everything about your brand is embodied, and that embodiment is in the form of a logo. So far, marketers have been predominantly relying on a visual logo. And there are fantastic logos that have been around. And the moment you look at the logo, it evokes all the right associations and connections with what that brand stands for. So one of the questions that I asked myself and my team is that, look, we have 5 senses, generally speaking, as human beings. And we absorb information through all these 5 senses. Why is it that we only focus on the visual sense, and why not on the other 4 senses? It was a crazy thought to begin with, but then the reality is there are certain sounds already strongly associated with those brands, whether it is British Airways or it is McDonald's or there are a few other brands. So we said we will need to have an audio version of our brand, a video version of our brand that is optimized to how the brain works, and explore the other ones as well, other senses as well. So in the case of the visual logo, what was fascinating is that when you have a word, that word gets processed through the frontal cortex or the front side of the brain, which is logical and analytical. Now, human decisions are driven not by logic and rational thinking, but by emotions and feelings. Those get actually triggered from a different part of the brain, which is the primal brain, so to speak. Now, when you have a logo with the word and with the visual, it tries to go through both ways, but predominantly it goes through your frontal cortex. If you drop the word, the visual goes through that part of the brain which processes and generates emotions and feelings. So that's really a shortcut to your heart, in other words. And it really was a big success for us. It was a bold move. And I remember the first time when I walked into my CEO's office and said that, hey, we're going to drop our name from our logo. He looked at me like I had 3 heads. But fast forward now, 84% of all the people in the world recognize Mastercard logo without the name Mastercard. as Mastercard, which is one big thing. Then we went into the audio sound, and we said it's not a jingle, it's not a mnemonic, but there is a comprehensive architecture, and we created a 10-layer architecture of different types of sounds and sound effects to say that this is what our brand will stand for. Fast forward now, in 5 years, all the last 5 years, we have been rated as the world's #1 audio brand, and I feel very good about it. Now that takes us to the next level, which is, okay, what about touch? And there we said, can we have a feel for our brand through either actual touch or maybe through vibrations, because the world is very digital and people have got their phones. And then if you see the distinction that you have to accomplish for your brand through vibrations is very difficult to accomplish. But we cracked the code, and I believe that we are the first haptic brand in the world which mimics exactly the rhythm and the feel and the intensity of everything that goes in the sonic brand. So now they are going to play off each other. So when you go to your shop and use your Mastercard and the transaction goes through successfully, your phone gives you the sound as well as the series of the sets of vibratory tones. And that's what the haptic is. And the market research is fantastic, but the proof of the pudding is in the market. And we have just gone live in 2 countries, in Brazil and in Ukraine.
Wow. I mean, it's so interesting to think that a brand could have a feeling. I'm petrified when these can become personalized. Like my wife would have one that like smacked me in the back of the head, I feel like half the time. Let me ask you a question on data and AI, because we are, you wrote a book called Quantum Marketing. You've been ahead of this field for a very long time. I have been at Zeta Live. I've done all 4 of them, right? I've participated in all 4 of them, and I've watched Zeta grow and grow and grow. And today, Zeta, I think the last time I looked, sits on 1 trillion data points a month, right? Like it's an unbelievable, it's like an incomprehensible amount of data points. But there's even more data than 1 trillion data points a month, right? There's infinite. And so before we jump into marketing perspective, it's like, how do you, with all the tools out there, just make sense of this infinite opportunity, right? Like it's almost paralyzing.
Actually, there's a very interesting paradox. On one hand, there is infinite data and you're spot on. But on the other hand, with the advancements in data analytics, including but not limited to AI, you don't require so much of data to make sense at any point in time. So here is what, I'll give you a simple example. Few years back, I went for a surgery to a hospital. 5 years later, they sent me an email. Raja, oops, we had a data breach. Your social security, date of birth, address, legal name, everything is compromised. But don't worry, we'll give you a credit monitoring service for $9.99 per month for 1 year, so that you have the privilege of monitoring if you're being affected or not. I was furious. As a consumer, I said, why the hell did you need all that information about me to be able to do my surgery? Second, after the surgery was over, why could you not have purged the data? And number 3, if you didn't know how to protect my data, you had no business to collect my data. I think those principles I would really look at from a marketer's lens as well. Do we need all the information? Do we need any personally identifiable information at all? The good thing is in both these, we do need some information for personalization. We need information for contextually appropriate and most relevant offerings to be made, which makes my experience as a consumer fantastic. But today the technology has evolved enough, and sophisticated companies like Zeta, I'm sure, are able to actually provide those solutions without PII, a personally identifiable information, number 1. The way data is being architected now, sort of it's tokenized. It's now distributed across multiple servers and so on, so that even if 1 or 2 servers get hacked, you still cannot piece the data together. That's number 2. And number 3, there is a something called the in situ processing and disbursement, which means for that particular occasion, valid data points will come together, analysis happens, insights come in. Soon after that's over, they disappear. So what happens is this is a privacy-first approach, which I think sophisticated companies are already embarking. We are not yet there, but I think we'll be there pretty soon.
Okay, so when we started, now shifting to marketing for a second, when we started, I made the joke about how I feel like I'm in the 1984 Apple commercial, right? Like with you on the wall, like and whatnot. And marketing used to just be big ads, almost like a lot of creative, a lot of effort going into one thing that would hit a mass audience. Walk us through what you see the next 5 years of marketing looking like.
So marketing for a number of decades has been advertising-led. Whether it is mass advertising or it is direct digital advertising one-to-one across the entire spectrum we had. But I think marketing has become a little saturated with advertising. On an average, a consumer is being bombarded by more than 5,000 ads every single day, which is practically impossible for any human being to process. And we need to, as marketers, recognize this and identify other ways to communicate with consumers, connect with them, create the right feelings and sentiments in their hearts and minds, and influence their preference towards your brand. So all those objectives are there, but I think the focus will be to areas other than advertising because of the saturation of the advertising space. And it'll be, for example, experiences will play a large role. It'll be immersive experiences that you curate, and the consumers appreciate the brand context and get the message and the association with the brand extremely strongly. Like, for example, at Mastercard, I can say that over the last 10 years, I have moved away more than 70% of my advertising dollars into experiential marketing without skipping a beat, but actually accelerating our momentum.
Okay, so that's fair, but the experiential marketing is in real life marketing, right? So you're physically in a place. How is Mastercard using AI solutions to think about their digitized marketing? Like, what are you doing from an AI perspective there?
So a couple of things. We are deploying AI both in the digital space and the physical space, and I'll address the digital space clearly. So for example, if two individuals are talking, say you and I are talking about some topic, suddenly somebody butts in and starts telling their story or their own theme, both of us will be annoyed. It will be seen as an intrusion. But if they come in and start adding value to our conversation and speak in that context, we will welcome that person. Very simple, commonsensical approach. Now transport it to advertising. There are conversations happening on the social media all the time. Brands can either butt in and be out of tune and keep talking their own stuff, or they actually know what the conversation is and adjust their whole advertising strategy and communication content around that particular conversation. So what we have done is deploying AI. We have created methodologies to predict micro trends in real time. So these micro trends last for less than 3 days. And by then, next set of micro trends would have started. Now, using Gen AI, well, I'll come to Gen AI in a minute, but before that, using regular AI, we have actually captured all the marketing, promotions, offers, discounts, everything that we want to in a repository. The AI identifies what is the right thing that I have to do to be appropriate to that conversation which the engine is predicting. Then it converts using Gen AI, the entire thing into an ad. And using synthetic data, it does A/B testing across 300,000 different variants. It optimizes and serves the optimized ad. It does media buying in real time through AI, measures the responses, and then computes the ROI. All of this stuff happens in a matter of few minutes. And this is amazing. And what we are seeing is the effectiveness of the campaigns actually shoots up by any time between 4 and 8 times. So we're talking 4x to 8x, not percentages anymore. That is the kind of jump that we can get using AI and Gen AI.
So I love that because that's Gen AI and AI looking outward in terms of communication. How about Gen AI and AI inwards in terms of your team, the marketing team, how it's going to impact jobs? Like, how are you looking at that and thinking about evolving the Mastercard team?
Okay, so 2 questions. Firstly, how is it impacting? we have seen that the productivity actually goes multifold. I'll give you a simple, tangible example. We have something called the RFP factory that we created. So we get RFPs from about 70,000 banks who are our clients or prospects all the time. So when you receive the RFP, in the past, it would take the salespeople about 7 weeks to respond to the RFP and to get to the first draft. They call it draft zero. Now, we have actually trained the AI engine with all the past RFP responses that we have given. And now the response is generated in less than 4 minutes. But then we put a human oversight on top of it to make sure that there is nothing messed up. So by the end of day one, you have got this draft zero for this RFP response, which is unbelievable level of productivity. This is in the B2B context. Likewise, we have done a ton of stuff in B2B, B2C as well, whether it is when you are looking at press releases, media releases that you want to do. AI is doing such a fine job and it improves productivity. Lastly, what I would also say is that on the creative side, I don't see AI as coming up with original creativity at this point in time. What it does is an intelligent juxtaposition of existing elements of creativity. So I would look at AI for the creativity as a tool, as it should be, as opposed to substituting creative people. So this is one. Now, moving on to the other one, the impact on people. Now, going to this creativity example, if you look at all the creativity that is done, there is very little original creativity in the world of marketing. A vast amount of it, I would say 90% plus, is actually intelligent juxtaposition of elements which are already there, which AI can do perfectly. So if you ask me my prognosis, I think the effect of AI is going to be pretty intense. And I think it's very cute to say that people can go and upskill themselves and do something else. Imagine you're a copywriter who is in your 50s, and you're a fantastic copywriter. Now, if AI is trained so well that it's coming up with stuff that can be as good as what you write or 90% as good as what you write, there are clients who would say, why am I paying so much to this individual? So I think there is a real risk here and now. It's very present. And I don't think that anyone has got a silver bullet as a solution at this point in time. But this is something which we have to be cognizant of, we have to acknowledge than to brush away. Because I often see people giving example, people thought that the world was going to end when cars have come and horse carriages were going off. Yeah, but those guys, they went through hell. People who are driving horse carriages and could not get into the car, driving situation. So I think this is going to be a tectonic change as I see it. And we are in for a huge transformation and disruption.
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. You know, David Steinberg and I were at Deepak Chopra, who's up next, by the way. It's a shame you're not here, because I know you are really a spiritual person in your own rights. But we were at their Sages and Scientists event 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about change. And we brought up a simple fact that everyone thinks that this time is so different. But if you look back in history, between 1879 and 1904, the automobile, the light bulb, the airplane, and the telephone were all invented, right? Think about that. The automobile, the light bulb, the airplane, the telephone. So if you died in 1878, you don't know that world. If you were born in 1905, you only know that world. And we're kind of like in 1910, where people are like, I don't need a car, I'll stick with my horse right now, right? And so we've run out of time, but I hope everyone could see like what an absolute brilliant marketer Raja is. I would say from my vantage point of working with him for over 20 years, Mastercard has just been one of the most in the trenches, hands-on teams I've ever worked with. They're not performative in any nature. And so Raja, thank you so much for making the time. We know you were feeling under the weather.
Thank you, but I have to make one comment.
Wait, they put you on mute, you were going to say?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, I have to say one comment. Firstly, thank you very much for your kind words. And I really appreciate Zeta for accommodating me via Zoom because I am under the weather and I didn't want to spread the germs around or the viruses around. So thank you very much, Zeta, for that. And one comment on you, Keith. I think, knowing you for the last couple of decades and having seen you, what a dynamic person you have been and how forward-looking you have been, time after time, I have seen whether you're at Bloomberg or subsequently you're the president of Time, and you actually came up with NFTs for Time. Who would have thought the Time magazine will get into NFTs, and that thing has actually generated real meaningful revenues for the company. And now at Moonpay as its president, I think it's wonderful to be partnering with you all these years, and I sincerely appreciate it and deeply admire what you're doing and what you continue to do. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.